Hello everyone, Jose Rodriguez here. It is December 26th, day after Christmas Day, and I am back to give you an update of what's happening with the Ardenberg image group testing for the P800, the Pro 10, and the Pro 1 using inks from Precisioncolors. The test prints, such as these, are being exposed to light in their specialized chamber now for the last 10 megalux worth of light exposure. And so far from what I have heard, he told me that the Pro 100 inks are indeed fading somewhat, but they're fading very evenly. And that is wonderful news because that's what we want. If they're going to fade at all, they have to fade evenly so that the color balance never changes during this slight fading process. But we'll have more news as the test is completed. Remember, we have 2 pigment ink sets to be tested as well, and they are now in the chamber. He has to wait until he has the funding to run the test, and of course he's going to combine many other paper, ink, and printer combinations just to make the test worthwhile and get the most bang for the buck. But now I want to go back and show you what I have been achieving for the last 3 months. I have had the same equivalent test prints, one in dark storage, one on my west facing window being bombarded by light for about 3 months now, and then one just laying about the room here. And I also have one upstairs by my refrigerator door. And I just wanted to show you that yes, indeed, I have been experiencing some fading. And as you can see, if you look at these areas here, they are indeed fading. They are not changing color balance. The gray is fading a bit. Again, changing only slightly, kind of warmish shift, but nothing that would actually create a global shift on a color print. For instance, maybe on a black and white it would be slightly warmer, but not a sepia print. This has been 3 months bombarded by light. This is equivalent to probably several years laying about in a room or on a wall, and definitely not indicative of a print under glass that will multiply your longevity by a factor of like 10. So if you look at the color patches, they are pretty much identical. They are pretty well saturated color patch samples. And these grays here that are in the dark exposed or control print are of course not changed. And that will probably change if there were any kind of environmental conditions that would cause oxidation of the dyes. Okay, and that apparently is not taking place in this example. So this were placed in a box. I had it between 2 books, but I went ahead and placed it in a little box so that it will receive exposure to air and block, of course, the light. So this is exposure to air, and if there's any oxidants in the air, it would cause it to fade. But so far, nothing. The blues, the oranges, the greens, they all pretty much look identical, except for a very slight shift. As you can see, my D-Max here is a little bit lighter than this one, and so that has shifted somewhat. Black is very, very the weak link, and so is yellow in ink sets. So something may have to be done about this black, but like I said, this is extreme. This is by the window, 3 months worth of light, at least 3 months of very strong light that you would never in your life suspect a print to if you know what you are getting into. All right, so now let's look at the one that has been sitting in the room and compare it to the control. And let me line this up. So this would be normal exposure. This would be normal environmental exposure. And I have to admit, I cannot tell the difference between the two. So that tells me that printed even on a cheaper Canon Pro luster paper, which is an RC or resin coated paper, not what I would call a paper meant for fine art prints or longevity, is performing quite well. And for those who have sadly experienced some bad fading within a few weeks, all I can say is that it has to be something in the environment causing this. It's not just light that causes fading, it's other factors in the atmosphere that is actually coming into contact with that particular print. One thing that you could do, you could spray it with a protectant spray, a UV protectant spray. There are many different sprays that you can obtain. I just use Krylon. I get it at the local art shop. It is meant to protect drawings and watercolors, which are very susceptible to light fading. And so they sell that spray in order for you to protect your watercolor paintings. And so I've been using that on some prints and it works quite well. They have a glossy and they have a matte. And you could get it at any art shop. Anyway, so that's about it. I just wanted to show you what I have been working on for the last 3 months. Not too hard because I just leave it in the window. I'm going to put this back in dark storage. I'm going to put this back on the window and let it cook for another, say, maybe 2 to 3 more months. That'll give you a whole half year of exposure, which is probably 10 years in a room wall. And so that will tell a lot. I expect it to fade more. That's fine. As long as the color balance does not change, I am happy. I mean, in all truth, think about this for a minute. When you were working, if you're old enough, with silver-based type process, you shot on film, you created a negative, and that negative was your master, which you had to protect because you did not want that negative to deteriorate on you. 10 years down the road, you want to reprint that image, you have to go back to your negative, and that negative better be pristine condition. So the way to do that would be to use certain chemicals to remove the fixer or hypo from the emulsion so that it would not cause fading later on in the future. That was very difficult to do. Paper was even worse. So regular prints in the darkroom had to be processed archivally, and so that, is that a word? So that would then create a so-called museum quality print, which is supposed to be archival in nature, but they have to be stored in certain conditions and not exposed to light. And none of that is applicable to our inkjet based prints. We want to put them on the wall, we want to put them on a frame, we want to expose them to the world to see. And so if they happen to fade, we have a digital file. Okay, now of course you can go back and scan those precious negatives and digitize them and store them in your hard drives, in disks, at the cloud. And as long as none of this fails you, you will always have access to your original files. But for digital printing, I am happy if that print on my wall lasts 2, 3, 4 years. Okay, and even if it fades a little bit, what happens is it'll fade to a certain level and basically not fade any longer unless your conditions change. And that's what I think is happening here. This dark storage print is my control. I look at my room print, I see no change. I look at the one that I abused outside in the by the window there, and there's some slight changes. It's getting a little bit lighter. The color balance is almost identical. So I'm wondering, wow, this is actually a very good combination for my conditions in my house. And those may not be your conditions at your house. So you have to be very careful and very vigilant and keep an eye on your prints. And if something is happening that causes you to fade faster than I'm fading, and again, remember, that was sunlight, then something is going on and you may have to resort to a protectant spray. And remember, those inks are costing you about 50 cents to 60 cents a refill, okay, instead of $15 to $16 per cartridge. All right, so that is it for now. I just want to thank you one more time. We're almost at the end of the year here. Just today I checked and I am up to, I believe it was 45 plus 100 subscribers. It's amazing. It's just every day 30, 40, 50 more subscribers. And so it's wonderful. The income is increasing pretty much on a daily basis. Views are increasing pretty much on a daily basis as well. And I think something is happening. Maybe YouTube is exposing the channel more and more to other people. I don't see that on my side of things. I only see the analytics of it, but I don't see what videos are being recommended to folks. And I'm just glad that's happening. Next year it'll be awesome. I'm going to have my grandson come over before the end of the year. And thank you guys. And he's going to actually say Happy New Year to all of you. And welcome 2017. We're ready for you. All right, so thanks once again. Please subscribe, share, and like as always. And until the next time, happy printing, everybody. Bye-bye.